We've all seen how Grok's released Ani, which is their kind of anime character that you can interact with in the Grok app. And we've seen how viral that's gone, how much people are talking about it. People are covering it in all over the place in mainstream media, and clearly it's hitting some sort of product market fit. It's clear that having 3D characters that you can talk to in real time is actually something people are interested in. Now, there is one team in the crypto space that's really building a product that can capitalize on this trend. And personally, I think their tech is very, very impressive and probably better than even X's tech. And this team is Yumio. And the Yumio ecosystem is one I'm very bullish on. I hold a bunch of ancient and mythic seeds, as well as stake a bunch of Limbo. So let's talk about the ecosystem, their team, their product. So the team is building two main things. One is an AI agent launchpad for 3D characters and 3D essentially companions that you can interact with. And the second is a sim-style video game where you essentially have this open world where you have these characters that interact with each other powered by AI technology. In today's video, we're going to focus mostly on the Launchpad, which is what seems to be coming up relatively soon based on the team's really communications and what they've been communicating on their X profile. In addition to that, I'll talk about how to get exposure to the ecosystem. First, let's talk about the team. And the Yumio team is all-star. First of all, you have Michael O'Connor, who has extensive game development experience as a producer at both Nintendo and Sega, and he's an experienced game dev. On top of that, he also has filmmaking experience, which is where his co-founder, Benjamin O'Cleary, comes in. So both of them actually have a lot of experience. Benjamin is actually an Oscar-winning filmmaker, and they even got Best Interactive at Cannes, which is very, very impressive. This is not common in the space at all, and I think it speaks to their ability to create brand and IP. This large team also includes several senior AI engineers, including AI PhDs, to help them build this out. They have secured partnerships with both NVIDIA as well as undisclosed global giants in the AI space. And some of it I can't say, but let me tell you, they've worked with some very, very impressive, basically top 3 AI teams in the world. The team has also raised venture funding, having raised $5 million. So to be clear, this team has been building for the last few years. The first demo I saw of theirs was over 2 years ago. So they have a lot more behind this than a lot of the AI teams out there that have been just building for the last 6 to 12 months, right? And their core focus is on emergent storytelling with AI. That's where they're very, very top tier at. So let's talk about their Launchpad, which will allow you to create your own 3D agents. Now, if you look at most Launchpads right now, whether it be Virtuals or CreatorBid or any of these Launchpads, to be honest, most Launchpads don't have very impressive tech, and they're really focused just on the distribution side, but they're not really bringing that much to the actual teams building on them beyond distribution, right? There's not really a tech moat there. What's impressive about Yumio is they have really strong 3D capabilities that teams will be able to take advantage of. So this is like a real moat that takes years of development. So personally, I think there's a few types of use cases that a launchpad like this could be extremely useful for. The first is next-gen DeFi AI use cases. My issue with a lot of DeFi AI teams right now is you basically go into a ChatGPT style interface. There's just a blank kind of screen there, and you basically tell it, hey, go check my portfolio, or hey, should I buy this token, or go to this blockchain and buy this, right? It's not really a clear user experience. It's not great. I personally think that if you have a 3D character that you can speak with back and forth, you could actually solve a lot of these issues and make DeFi a lot more fun. So imagine having your own 3D character and you ask it, hey, what do you think about Bonk? And it responds in real time. I actually think it's a really great buy. They have this Launchpad. And then you tell it, hey, well, can you do some research into it and create a brief? It'll go out there and tell you, hey, I just created the brief. Do you want me to give you the high-level highlights? So I think that's a much better way to do it. And I actually think a gaming team would probably be better at solving UX issues than a lot of these DeFi teams, right? Like gaming is much more about being user-friendly and really taking complex gameplay and making it approachable and simple. So I'm personally excited for that, right? Like if they can go find some really top-tier DeFi AI teams and then basically bring them in and act as a UX layer and make that UX layer really, really smooth, it could be a winner. Basically, the way I think about it is perhaps a virtual financial co-pilot, but it's actually a human, right? Imagine having a financial advisor that you talk to before you go ape into whatever shitcoin you're going to ape into. That's kind of what I think this would be like. And this would actually improve your trading a lot because you're not just chatting with some chatbot. Now, the second use case is brand and IP tie-ins. So I think the only way for traditional brands to really approach the whole AI agent space, especially in crypto, is basically there's not really any appealing options. I do think with their tech, they can build out mascots and agents for these brands. So imagine having like an agent for McDonald's that you can interact with. Perhaps it's tokenized in some form, perhaps it's not tokenized, but I think what they can do here is essentially allow plug and play tech for different brands to create their own AI agents based on their IP and story, right? For example, an official Star Wars Han Solo agent, right? And that's like the official one that you can chat with, interact with, and it basically is fully trained on all of the data from all the Star Wars movies and IPs. I think people would really go for that. And really, there's not that much tech for that right now. I think there is potential for some interesting things to be built out there. The third one is virtual assistant agents. So imagine having a virtual assistant that basically books flights for you, makes reservations, but is actually a 3D agent. So this would be probably closer to what I think Grok is trying to do, but Grok doesn't really have agentic abilities. ChatGPT just announced that they're gonna have agents. So I can see some of the big chat platforms and AI companies actually building this out, but I do think YouMio's tech and characters are really impressive. So I could see them almost being like a add-on layer or perhaps like a replacement for some of these, right? Like I think consumers would still want to go to the best, visual and world-like experience, right? Because with Yumio, you actually have these like 3D agentic worlds where your character can go and respond with it. It's basically like being in an Unreal Engine game environment where your character can go do things and move around and maybe live in the house, etc. So I think there's definitely potential there. The fourth use case I personally think could be interesting for a 3D AI agent Launchpad is influencers. So imagine tokenizing influencers, turning them into basically people that you can talk with on an app, etc., right? So you could take crypto Twitter influencers and basically talk to them, talk about your trading ideas or your market strategy ideas and timing ideas, and they're trained on all the content, perhaps your trading history, etc. Also, I think there's a lot of potential here for some sort of Love Island style game or some sort of basically TV show where you have the agents of these influencers interacting with each other in some sort of environment and creating these emergent storylines. I personally think that might be technically difficult to build out, but it could be a really, really fun and interesting idea. Look, these are all crazy ideas. I don't know if any of them are going to be built out, but that's where I see the possibility here, where I think if the team really executes well, this is a huge, huge opportunity. Now, how do you get exposure to the ecosystem? So there are three assets in the ecosystem, right? They have their flagship AI agent, Limbo. So Limbo right here, she's basically started out as streaming, but now she's more, the main utility is being the flagship agent of this Launchpad. You basically are able to go and essentially stake Limbo. So you go into this dashboard. I'm not logged in, but I'm top 40, I believe. And basically you will get affinity as well as stars, right? So that's kind of the main way to get exposure to the Launchpad. As you can see, access ecosystem rewards, higher rewards for higher locks. With affinity, essentially you get ecosystem rewards, which, I mean, there's literally a parachute, like pretty much, you know what that means, right? Like ecosystem rewards. I don't have to spell it out for you. Now, in terms of the stars, you get Launchpad utility. If I have to guess on Launchpad utility, I would probably say it's similar to Virgin points or greater bid levels, where you get access to allocations for projects, right? So, and then you can also spend on activities and items for your agents, etc. So that's another utility for the stars, and then you get your affinity as well from that. I think it seems pretty interesting. They're kind of clearly hinting at what's coming, and Limbo is the main way to get that. And Limbo, to be fair, is quite undervalued in my opinion. So that's my biggest play right now, is like really staking a bunch of Limbo and trying to accumulate as much Limbo as possible. So the other way to get exposure is they have Ancient Seeds and Mythic Seeds. So Mythic Seeds and Ancient Seeds are their OG NFT collection. I believe these are more focused on the game, but by essentially staking them, you get seed points, and they're also eligible for ecosystem rewards. So I'm guessing also they're like valuable. But it seems like in terms of the actual Launchpad, Limbo is a little bit more focused on that, while the seeds are more focused on the actual game. And if I had to guess, I would probably guess they're more focused on the Launchpad right now, and the game's kind of coming along in the background. So I'm holding all three. I'm pretty heavy into Ancient Seeds, Mythic Seeds, and Limbo. I'm not giving financial advice here, but I would definitely look into those assets. So what's the bull case for Limbo and for Yumio in general? I think because they are strongly hinting at this Launchpad, been making a lot of expos, their content has been quite focused on it. They've been doing weekly in progress updates on the actual Launchpad. I think they're really gearing up up for it. So I do think there's the possibility to reach the scope of a project like Virtuals. They are a bit more focused, it seems, on the entertainment, the IP, the brand side of things. So I could see some huge partnerships in the traditional space coming at them. And I do think that they have a unique enough angle to do well. So the biggest execution risk is being able to attract really strong agent teams. And the second risk is making sure that they understand what crypto native capital cares about and will be willing to trade, right? Because ultimately for any launchpad, you need the agents to succeed and have a lot of trading activity, and you want them to have real use cases. And I think for crypto native people, there's certain things they're willing to spend money on, certain things they're not. So I believe they can see adoption both from the Web2 crowd as well from the crypto native crowd. But I think the crypto native crowd is probably going to be more important initially for gaining a lot of traction and momentum. And then from there, it's easier to get people from, like, let's say the Web2 world to come in and start building things out on there and then start getting mass adoption in that world. I personally think this could be a similar play. For example, Pudgy Penguins was a brand IP play. They've done extremely well. They have a big Web2 presence as well as crypto native presence. And that's kind of the key here. Like, they need to execute both on making this appealing to crypto native as well as appealing to traditional audiences. There is the risk, obviously, there's a lot of launchpads coming out. There's a lot of competition for a small number of agent teams that are good. So it's kind of becoming like L1s and L2s, where you had a lot of these layer 1 and layer 2 blockchains and way more of them than actual teams building products. So you kind of need to be aware of that dynamic. That being said, I think because of their unique differentiating tech, they're going to be able to attract strong teams. And they also have a very strong team. Like, the founder, Michael, is, let's say, a warrior. He doesn't give up. He's pretty much in it till the end. And I personally think he's one of the best founders I've met in the space. So I'm quite positive on them. So not financial advice. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe on my YouTube channel. And if you're watching this on X, give it a like, give it a comment. Appreciate any engagement you guys give me, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.